Allegri bringing on Santi made difference because this allowed Rafa to play off of him in the final third of the pitch, and Rafa came alive in the second half as a result. And this is, as we know, guys, the coach make a massive difference. I bet you last year this is a match that we'll never win. We saw so many problems with Fonseca, with Conceição, but Allegri is actually very smart because he understood that the match starts with 11 and then you have 5 substitutions. And you can play really with this, allowing the player for the last 20-25 minutes to really change completely your lineup and to bring home a result or to freeze it like we saw against Napoli. In this case, in this match against Fiorentina, Allegri had one move, one player that can really change. It was Santiago Giménez. But the obvious it was to play in the beginning Santiago Giménez behind Rafael Leão and see what they can do. But if that tactics doesn't work, and we know that Santiago at the moment doesn't have 90 minutes, okay, but maybe he can give a good solid answer in half an hour, 20-25 minutes. So what Allegri did, in my opinion, that was all tactics. He waited. Probably the goal, conceding the goal wasn't really planned, but right after Milan conceded an unfortunately goal, the fourth of the season, okay, which is pretty crazy. That substitution really changed the mood of the game because yes, that allowed Rafa to play as a second striker. And remember, his original position is a winger, he's not a second striker. And Saelemaekers also to play on the right. Milan in the second half, especially after conceding the first goal, we start to be on top, thanks to the team, thanks to the spirit of shared with the coach, thanks to the fan that finally now they are back singing like crazy, and thanks to the yellow shirt that apparently it's bringing good luck. So yes. Mr. Wolf, Santi doesn't score, but it's so important. Giménez is probably the best important player, the only real striker we have that knows how to be a striker. Him and Pulisic are the two starters. Leão, Kunku, the subs. Now, calm down, everyone, okay? Mr. Wolf, I get your comment. Santi does not score, but it's so important. In this match, yes. In this match, it's so important. Also remember that for the game style of Allegri, always wanted to have a first striker. The only first striker that we have is Santiago Giménez. That's it. Against Juve, we saw already something. He was subbed in this match, and I have to say that I really entered with that feeling like, okay, something is about to happen. Remember that also De Gea made a massive save over Santi. So really, we start to see something. As you know, guys, on this channel, I never jump off the boat of Santiago Giménez. And it's been covered million of times with critics, as I never jump off the boat of Rafael Leão. You all know that, okay? Now, in this match, it was very important. Now, Leão as a substitution, Patrick Pereira, I don't really think so. Okay, so let's slow down our horses. Michaelis, we showed so much heart coming back that Fiorentina goal really sucked the life out of me, and my AC Milan lift me back. Santi really changed the game. He hasn't scored, but he's still important to the team because he's our only real number 9. Not Rafa's biggest fan, but his talent is without doubt, and people go overboard with the criticism, of course. It's funny because I already talked about this in the previous comments, but yeah, he's actually our number 9. And now the next comment, it's from Alexander Valerian. I'm not gonna post his comments because pretty much what he does a breakdown of every single player, And I appreciate his effort to write the comments. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go through his comments with time, because he start from the back line, giving some kind of rating for Magnan, Pavlovic, Gabbia, Bartesaghi, Fofana, and everyone. So let's break it down. It's gonna take a while, but I like to criticize his comments and see if I actually are on the same page. Starting from, of course, from Magnan, was once again solid and confident. His little dribble against Keane was hilarious to see. Conceded goal bounced off Gabbia, so not his fault. Absolutely agree. That the dribble against Keane was probably for the reels for TikTok, but it was very dangerous in my opinion. But not his fault in on the goal. But I believe that he could have done a little bit better, especially defensively. Salemaker should have been on the second post, but that's okay. Pavlovic started clumsy with a goal opportunity and defense kick that ended up in the corner, but the rest of the game regained composure. Here, I remember in the beginning of the match we had, actually on the first half we had two big chances with Pavlovic and Fikayo Tomori. I think even Tomori, that he didn't write about Tomori, he played actually pretty good, you know. Gabbia solid, elbow Ricci in the neck, probably Ricci won in poker or something. Okay. Bartesaghi had an excellent performance in my opinion. All his crosses in the box were on the point. He only lacked courage to dribble forward, but understandable, he's not a winger. I agree, but the only problem that I have with Bartesaghi is that he out of 10 passes, 8 of them they are backwards instead of forwards. So it's a very, very Italian defender, right? He rather not losing the ball. For Modrić against does it disappoint? Tried a couple of forward balls and his defense was stellar on this match. I agree with you. Once again, defensively and attack, our best play without any doubt. And that's all. Fofana terrible in this match. His shot to goal always end up in a cornfield, and his control ball was crap. He was bouncing off him like in a pinball. Still too slow. Fofana is a classic player that does 5 good things, and then he does the following 2 that they are really bad. Like he does 5, 6 good passes, assists, stealing the ball, but then he does a couple of mistakes that you're like, what are you doing? Losing the ball in that position. So yeah, I get it. It can get frustrating, but I think Allegri trusts him, so I trust him. Ricci, energetic, fast and solid through the match. It was silence and all the fans that wanted to see him start the match from the beginning. I agree. But I think now we can all agree also that Ricci is very young and still have a lot of things to go through. And in my opinion, Rabiot, without any problem, any doubt, is a starter compared to Ricci. Okay. Atekame better this time with attempt of goal, needs to be a bit faster on the wing in my opinion. Yes, Atekame played a solid match. It was his first match in San Siro, of course with a coach like Allegri that always want to have precise defense. You don't have much space to attack. So both Bartesaghi and Atekame, in my opinion, they played well. Attenzione, Salemaker against a joy to watch. Defenders need 4 legs since you never know where he's gonna go forward or just faking it. Rafa needs 3 matches to remove the rust from his leg, and now he silenced all the skeptic and won us 3 points. Completely different display from Juventus match. His control on the ball was better and managed to cash in on the opportunity in this match. First goal was one of the best goals from play in the season, and I'm glad he didn't disappoint us during the penalty. I agree. But Rafa, remember guys that against the last couple of matches he's been playing as a first striker. I think we can all agree that Rafa is not a first striker. Rafa is not a first striker. Rafa is not a striker. Repeat after me. Rafa Leão is not a first striker. Rafa Leão is not a first striker. So he plays as a second striker. He scored twice, creating, so playing a little bit better. In my opinion, usually he plays as a winger, and slowly is getting more in the middle. It's an upgrade. It's really an upgrade, because in January, if you buy a first striker, you can really let Leão play as a winger, and he's gonna destroy in Serie A. Santi Menez, our drama queen, he won another penalty for us. You can say what you want, but it's kind of like an assist to a goal, yeah. And you were on a point by noticing how he freed up a lot marking from Rafael Leão to himself, yeah. Very good, yeah. So all in, Milan showed that they have a strength to come back after the 0-1 and still manage to plug up 3 points. Come on in Serie A, what's our next challenge? We will see, believe. Like, of course, guys. Believe is still a bit early, guys. I will talk about it after the derby, about believing or not. But Vincent Mancini, one thing that was beautiful to watch was Salemaker's desire to drive forward. In two specific situations, he opted to make a difficult turns on his mark. Beat the defender both times. He was really nice to see, continue to impress. I agree. Alexis, it's such a strong Milanista. Remember that Salemaker is also Maldini last buying, okay? And he's with Tomori and Magnan and Rafa, well, yeah. Okay, is which is still, like, after what, 5 years they are still there. That means they are really good for Milan. And Salemakers, it's I think with Allegri he's gonna do fireworks this year. He's gonna go fireworks. Now I think we all have to behave like Gabbia, level-headed and silently confident. Now Inter is a clearly strongest team in the Campionato, but we also know how to play Inter. Silent optimism, admit injury worries, and an acceptance that our system needs a functioning striker. Santi played well tonight and he changed the game. Nothing to say about Leão, he knows who it is. The stakes are high and getting increasingly important that we don't drop a point in this match. We are expected to win. Forza Milan, I'm very happy. Now we are up there. Look, wow. Then the problem is starting Alexis as striker instead of Jimenez, and the problem is starting Alexis as a striker instead of Jimenez. And let's be honest, Fiorentina goals was just pure luck. It's not a problem, but an Allegri strategy, I guess. It was his strategy maybe, but he was convinced it's a good idea. More important in the 3 points and getting Jimenez back from form. I think we already analyzed this, right? So, grande Allegri. Thank you, Dan, for the comments, but I think Allegri planned that. Irfan. I really want to see Leão, Pulisic, and Santi playing together. If we can't use the 4-2-3-1 as a formation, then I think the 3-4-3 formation is worth a try. We have a lot of good players in the bench. There are Nkunku, Yashari, and Ricci who haven't secured starting 11. This is what a club needed: 2 or 3 good players on the same position. Now, Irfan here says something very interesting, because as we mentioned on this channel a billion of times, competition is extremely important in football. Competition is very important. So part of the reason why last year we were upset with Teo Hernandez, that slowly we saw him shutting down, because on the left side for the last 4 years he didn't have any competition. Rightly, but probably give him some competition probably will help him to, also to take a little bit more of to take time to relax a little bit and not playing every single match, and then some Sunday may be good, Sundays may be shit, So competition are really important. Now Allegri ball bigger than Pioli ball. We only had 3 subs that were not Primavera Futuro. Max Allegri masterclass. When I saw the sub that I didn't even see Loftus Cheek in the sub I saw him on the stands. I was like, okay, how are we gonna solve this match if we fucked up? Because this is a classic match that last year Milan will lose, and Conceição will say we did, and we have a lot of problem, we have a lot of substitution. And I tell you even this, as a fan, if we were not winning this match, I will be like, look at the lineup. How can we win against a Fiorentina that doesn't win from 9 matches in a row? And instead we won, and this is big. This is really big. Don't play Leão as a 9, play in his position. Also like this comment by Christian. Very clear, Leão needs to play off another striker. The game completely changed when Santi came in, but not because Santi is amazing, but because it put Alexis back to the right back and open up so much more space for Leão. Note, Ricci looked great. I think we have a full lineup with starting 11, should have Pulisic as a 9 and Leão playing off him. Forza Milan. I think with this lineup we need a front striker, so that's why Jimenez is gonna always be playing. Told you last week when we drew against Juventus that we'll come back in a good game. We played well. After we conceded a goal, Santi played well in my opinion. The bitter taste, the ability of Allegri, Modrić, that that's what Allegri mentioned already. Buying player with experience, even though they are not gonna give you a future, but they bring in a team full of young talent. They raise the bar, and that match against Juventus that we did actually, now thinking back, probably we deserve more than just a draw. There was a lot of frustration in the dressing room, and the ability is to bring that frustration, that bitter flavor, bring it on the next match and say, okay, now we don't mess up anymore. Similar team that it's built like this for years now, it's Inter. They messed up one, maybe twice, but the third time they're not gonna miss. I'm starting to believe we might have a chance, Ario. Con calma, con calmissima. It's very early to talk, brother. Very, very early. But yeah, look at that. Yuka Kingdom. Believe Forza Milan. Heil King Modrić is our best player. Wow. Guys, this is it. These are some of the most funny comments that I read. I think we pretty much on the same page when we saw the tactical move from Allegri. We were all surprised, and literally he solved the match. I think the biggest buying of this season was, yes, number 1, Massimiliano Allegri, but number 2, also buying player like Modrić and Rabiot that raised the bar. Other than that, guys, we have another match against Pisa on Friday. Saturday night, hopefully we're gonna bring home the 3 points. The night after there is Napoli-Inter that really is gonna tell us a lot about the future of the season. And then following Tuesday we go to Bergamo against Atalanta that haven't lost a single match yet this year. That is gonna be another tough night. We will see. Ciao.